Welcome back, class 11th in part 2 of this chapter. I know it has been a lot of days, it's been almost a week that I am posting another part. Sorry for that. But from now onwards, we will see some regularity because these days I was busy with my work. So, now starting with this topic, what is equality? And also, we will be completing this political theory by this month itself. So, you won't have to wait for another month before your exams. You will be done with all these concepts and you will be completing all these concepts in detail so that you can study and get good marks and develop a better understanding of concepts of political science. So when we are going to class 12th, we will start with new session. We will start with daily uploading of all those chapters, है ना. So we will be discussing political science in class 12th as well, and we will be starting with new chapters by the end of March or from the starting of April, है ना. When new session starts, we will be completing with these chapters from first chapter itself. Now coming back to the topic, this is part 2. What is equality? We have studied in earlier part that what is equality, how equality is one of the central themes of social and political theory and all these things. Now in this we will study that what is equality. First we will see these images, that colored served in rear, drinking fountain. White people have different color drinking fountain for water, and colored people, that is brown, black, they all have different, and restrooms for white only. Now we see all these things in white countries where most of the population is white, and they discriminate with other people on the basis of their color of the skin, black and Latinos and brown skin people and so on. So we will see all these things. So we will see that all these distinctions are made just because that people are from different community where they have different race and they have different skin color. So that is why we see some people follow these distinctions. They differentiate between people, on the basis of the colors. That means that a group of people might have white skin, so they are white, and Caucasian people, so they try to discriminate. They start discriminating against other colored skin people. And we have seen all these things in the past in our British India, in South Africa, apartheid system we have read in class 9th and also in this chapter. And before this we have studied, when in freedom chapter we studied about apartheid system of South Africa. So we saw how these things take place and what were the basis. The only basis for all these differentiations and distinctions was because of the skin color, that skin color and races are different, so people consider these people who are different from them as inferior to them. So that is why in equality we see, or we come to the concept that in equality each and everybody should be treated in a way that we all are human beings. We all have same body ratio of, or same body as humans, we should not be differentiating. We should not distinguish with other people on the basis of the race or color. We need to treat each and everybody with equality because we all are human beings after all, and we all are entitled for the same respect and consideration because we all are humans. That means you and I, we are not different. Even though I live in some other part of the nation, you live in some other part of the nation, or some people in some other part of the world in another country, we all are equal irrespective of the skin of our color, race we follow, religion we follow, gender we have. We all, despite all these differences, we all are equal because first of all we all are human beings. But we also see there is a difference between people in society, we see there are differences when we treat people equally. That means if we are giving same level of respect to A and B, that is because they both are human. Yet there are some differences which are legalized, which are you can say which are followed, because these differences are not because they have different skin color, they have different caste, they have different religion, but due to some special official rank and status. For example, if I give you an example regarding this, that if I'm a person, I'm a citizen of India, and so is the Prime Minister of India. We both are citizen of India, yet we will see that if we both are present in a ceremony, will be treated with utmost respect. PM or CM or any other minister or army general, they will be treated more with more respect, and more preference will be given to them. Why? Because not because they are different in sense of humanity, but because of the position they are holding now, है ना. Army general has a lot more position, lot more importance than you and I, because he is the army general. And these differences are not in accordance with the inequality. They are not to be treated as unequal treatment of others. Why? Because that person holding that position is being treated just because he is holding that position, and not on the basis of his caste, color, creed, or whatever category he is or she belongs to, है ना. So what I'm trying to say is that if we see any important person who is being given privilege, who is being given more respect than the others, then that is because that person's status or official rank is not against the notion of equality, but it is outside the purview of equality because of the position they are holding. And this is not to be treated against equality only when they are not misusing it. If someone is misusing it, misusing their position, misusing their power, then that we can say that this person is treating everybody else with inequality, you know. We can say all these things. Now, so when a person, like for example, when a person in a ceremony, if I and PM or CM somebody is present, he or she will be given preference over me. Why? Because of the position they are holding. So this kind of inequality we do not feel unjust about. Why? Because we see, okay, this person is being given preference because he holds a position of authority in our country. Same is the case with president, position of the president, है ना. President is treated with utmost respect. So we cannot say that this is inequality, because it does not treat people differently on the basis of their caste, color, creed, gender, religion, whatever region they belong to, but on the basis of their position they are holding. Now, but some other kinds of inequalities we can see they are unjust, है ना. We can say that some other forms of inequality exist, and these conditions are unjust because, for example, if A person and B, if these two students are to join a private school, and one comes from a slum family, slum area, and the other comes from the middle class or the upper middle class or the rich family, a school says that okay, we will take admission of B person because he has money, he or she has money and comes from a wealthy family, comes from an educated family. But A will not be given admission because he comes from a family who lives in slum area, even though they have the ability to pay fees, even though they can pay fees. The school says no, we will not be admitting A because that person comes from some slum family. So this is what inequality is, and this is not justified, है ना. This is unfair because a child born in slum or slum area or in poverty should not be denied nutritious food, good education, because it is not his or her own fault, है ना. Those conditions are not his or her own fault. So that is why we cannot deny these things, and we cannot promote inequality on the basis of this. So as we can see that these differences, है ना, these differences, being born in a slum area or you're born in a rich wealthy area, these sorry, not these these predetermined criteria should not determine whether you are to be treated with equality or inequality. So that is what equality is all about. That means we want to treat other people with respect without making an assumption where they are coming from, what religion they are following, what caste do they belong to, and so on. We need to treat people equally irrespective of whatever background they have, है ना. So we will be discussing all these things. So the main question that here arises is that which distinctions and differences are acceptable and which are not, है ना. That means how can we define that okay, these differences are acceptable when one person is a citizen, other person is a PM or a CM or an army general, then the differences of inequality are totally fine. But when a person belongs to a slum area, the other person belongs to a rich area, and when we are treating them differently, this is not unacceptable. So how do we define these things, है ना? So we need to define these things on on the basis that if we that person, है ना, that person A and the another person B, they are coming from different backgrounds. That person belongs to the slum area, does not belong to the slum area. That person is coming from the slum area, and B is coming from the wealthy area. So these predetermined circumstances should not define how we are treating A and B, है ना? These should not define why A is being denied equality as respect to B. So when we talk about equality, what we mean is, by equality, what we mean is that we are not eliminating all differences. We are just making sure that people are not treated with predefined notions of their background. That means A might have some ability to do some work and B might have some ability to do some work. We are not eliminating these differences of A and B. Rather, what we are doing is we are treating A in at par with B, है ना? That means if A wants to learn music, B wants to learn music in a school, है ना? So what we can do is we teach both of them music, है ना? But inherently, or you can say, there might be some differences in their learning capabilities. B might become a professional musician, है ना? And A might not do so. This is not based on the differences that we were treating, but this is based on the inherent quality of that person. That means how much that person is capable of depending on their own uniqueness and talent, है ना? Another example, if I give you another example, if A and B are two students, है ना, this person is weak in studies, A person is weak in studies, B is very intelligent in studies, है ना? Now what we are doing in a school is, if we were to send some of our students as representatives of the school for quiz competition or for sports or musicians, we might prefer, okay, A is not good in studies, so he might not be that much of a good person in quiz or in music or in athletics. But this might not be the case. Why? Because if A is doing bad in some area, he might be good in some other area. We need to recognize, we need to accept those good areas and talent, and we need to bring out those talent so that A can also develop and realize his full potential. So in equality, we are not eliminating all forms of differences. Rather, what we are saying is, the treatment we receive and the opportunities we enjoy must not be predetermined by birth or social circumstances, है ना? That means if in a family A is a sister, B is a brother, है ना, they both ask their parents that I want to join music class and want to learn guitar, है ना? Not guitar, guitar wants to learn guitar. So parents will say, okay, A, you are a girl, you will not learn guitar, it is of no use to you, but B will learn guitar. So these differences should not be predetermined. These differences should not create an hindrance for the development of A, realizing the full potential of A, है ना? It means that there are differences, you know, there are some biological differences, physical differences, whatever differences, those differences are existing. We are not trying to eliminate those differences. Only thing that we are trying to do is that these differences do not create a hindrance for a person when they are trying to realize their full potential or capabilities. Also, another form is equality, is that equality of opportunity. We can relate this, that equality of opportunities to be given to each and every person, irrespective to the region they are coming from, to the gender they belong to the caste they belong to, the religion they are following, and things like these. That means equality of opportunities, that if A person is getting an opportunity in a school for participating in a quiz competition, B should be given equal opportunity as well. Even though A is a topper student, A is a intelligent student, B is an average student, but there might be a situation that B is good in some other field or in quiz competition, things like these. So A and B both are to be treated with equality, so that they are given equal opportunities, and then they can present themselves and realize their full potential. So equality of opportunities discusses about this only, that the concept of equality implies that all peoples as human beings are entitled to the same rights and opportunities to develop their skills and talents and to pursue their goals and ambitions, है ना. That is why we see that in government exams there are no restrictions for a person attempting to take that exam apart from the age criteria, that is age limitation, and the some specific graduation requirement for those particular exams, है ना. Otherwise there are no minimum requirements for all these things, है ना. So if we were to give A and B equal opportunity, this person might become a successful cricketer, this person might become a scientist. So we cannot say okay, A has become a lawyer and B has become a scientist, so they both are unequal. No, this does not mean inequality, because society is not considering this as inequality, because they both were given equal opportunity to develop themselves and realize their full potential. So A is good in arguing, A is good in presenting logical arguments, है ना, reading books, reading about laws, so he's a good lawyer. B is good in STEM, है ना, science, technology, engineering and mathematics, so he or she, that person became a scientist or a research or a PhD scholar, whatever they want to become, है ना. So they were given equal opportunities, but they developed different potentials, and now they're at different places. Also there might be a situation that A cannot become anything. A is just a regular person who is going to a private job and doing something, and B became a scientist. Though they both were given equal opportunities, but B was talented, made most of the efforts, है ना. He or she put in the lot of hard work and the effort. So B graduated and became a scientist and did a PhD and everything, and A did not become anything. So we cannot say that now society is unequal. Why? Because they both were given equal opportunities and were not denied any opportunity. They both were given equal opportunity, but it was their own potential that made them this way. So this is what equality of opportunity is all about. That means it is not the lack of equality of status or wealth or privilege that is significant, but the inequalities in people's access to such basic goods, education, healthcare, safe housing, make for unequal and just society. That means A, B, C, D, E, all these students are to be given equal education, equal healthcare facilities, equal safe housing, and when they are becoming something, they are becoming that person or that thing because of their own potential, of their own realization. But all the basic necessities were given to each and everybody, है ना, to A, to B, to C, to D and to E. That means they all were given equal opportunities and equality treatment was given to all of them. And now what they are becoming is just a result of their hard work and their individual potential. Now, natural and social inequalities. Now, natural inequality is what? That these inequalities are natural, based on the person's individual capacity equality, है ना. That some person is naturally genius, some person is naturally athletic. That is natural difference, है ना. That is God given, that is from birth, by birth. But what about social inequalities? These are defined by societies as we can say social inequalities, like example gender discrimination, है ना, with women, that men are superior to women. It is natural inequality. There is nothing natural about it, because nobody is superior. It is all about a person's individual capability. You can say that there exists some form of difference in strength between a man and a woman of same age, because that is natural. But we are not discussing superior in terms of strength. Here this person is saying men are superior because society has made him think that way, that women are inferior, they cannot pursue, they do not have logical thinking and things like these, है ना. That often we listen that people whenever in science, most of the girls, now not now but earlier also, used to take PCB when opting for science stream in class 11th, that physics, chemistry, biology. That means they all thought biology is for women and maths is for male or men, है ना. So all these differences are social inequalities, not natural inequalities. We can see famous women है ना, scientists participating in research and all. So what they all did was nothing. They studied and they realized their full potential. So it is not social, so it is not natural inequality, but it is rather a social inequality. And sometimes what happens is that when these inequalities are followed for a long time है ना, when they have existed for over a long time period of time, so what these inequalities become, they become justifiable. Okay है ना, कि okay, we are seeing from past 100 years that women are this way, so women are this way only. So this becomes a justifiable stereotype, because people think okay, this is based on the natural inequality, but it is not a natural inequality, rather it is because of situation that has taken place over the past 100 years or few years. Here we have few examples that women were for long described as the weaker sex है ना, because they were confined to their homes, that they cannot go outside, so they cannot do outside work and things like these. So over the centuries, these things were ingrained in the minds of people, or also in the minds of women as well, that okay, they are the weaker sex because they can't perform any physical labor work है ना, laborious work which requires physical labor at intense है ना, it intense, sorry, it you can say what intense labor work. So they cannot perform because they are residing in home, so because they were confined in home for centuries. Another example that we can see is of the black people, that black people in Africa were considered by their colonial masters to be of lesser intelligence, childlike, better at manual work. Also we can see this in the oriental theory है ना, that when British and other Europeans came to Asia है ना, India and the other countries, so when they came to Asia, what they did is they conquered these areas and told people that you are not you people are somewhat backwards, you people are, you can say, barbaric and live on the क्या कहते हैं, you can say you do not follow science, हाँ, you do not follow science, you follow religion and so on and things like this, you do not study science, so you people are inferior to us and we will be your superior, and you will be following us because we are your masters. So things like these happened for a long time, and when these things happened, so what happened, that people were ingrained in their mind that we are inferior to British and Europeans. So that is how you justify institutions like slavery, because over the time you imposed all these negative stereotypes and differences on people. So another thing that we see is that problem with the idea of natural differences है ना, problem with the idea of natural differences, that if earlier times, if 20-30 years ago we had a blind person, that person was treated differently because he or she was blind and could not see. But in today's science, medical science has advanced so much that we can help blind people get back their vision है ना, we can help we can see people who are disabled, who can use wheelchairs. Another example that we have is the famous physicist Stephen Hawking है ना, Stephen Hawking, he could not speak, he could not move, but still he was one of the best physicists we have ever seen. So that means with the help of science we can also overcome these natural inequalities and natural differences. So what we do is that we help people who are disabled, people who are differently abled है ना, we help them with the help of science to gain an edge, or to come at a platform which is at par with other people who are perfectly fine. That means if A is a person who is disabled and B is a person who is not disabled, A is disabled and B is not disabled, so what we do is, if we are helping A in some form or the other so that he and B can be given equal opportunity, then we see okay, now we are not discriminating against A. If we are not helping A, then we could say कि we are discriminating against A because that person is disabled, that person cannot perform similar functions. Another example that I have is when last year when I was invigilator in board exams na, so there a student came from another school. That person could not sit long for and could not sit for long hours and could not write. So that person was provided a scribe. That means that student was gave provided a help with the other student of class 11th, है ना. That last year when I was in board invigilation duty, so a class 12th student was suffering from some form of disability that he could not sit for long hours, and he used to walk to and fro inside that class. So he was given a separate class, and instead, and in addition to this, board provided that person with another scribe, है ना, a person who used to write answers for that person while he was dictating answers to his scribe. So here we can see, we can see an example that this person is suffering from some form of disability, and to give him equal opportunity of giving boards exam at par with other people, this person is given a scribe, because he could not write, है ना, he could not write due to some locomotor disability. So he was given a scribe because he wanted to pursue his education. So that is how we are treating people who are differently abled with equality, by giving them extra advantage over others. And this is not inequality in terms that why we are giving this person advantage over others. This person was given 1 hour in extra, 1 hour extra for his exam, and in addition to this, a scribe was also given. So as we can see is that other normal students who were not who did not face such problem were given 3 hours, and this person was given 4 hours in addition to scribe. So why are we doing this? We are doing this so that we can overcome the natural inequalities, natural differences that people are suffering from, है ना. We are trying to overcome the effects of their disability. Now this is why we see that we cannot treat social or natural inequalities as a standard by which laws are to be justified, है ना. Laws are to be made, that we cannot say that this person is that if a person is not working properly, that person will not work in any company. There might be some problem with that person, there might be some locomotor problem, might be some vision problem, might be some disability, है ना. So that is why we do not use natural and socially produced distinctions as a standard by which the laws and policies of society can be assessed. Instead, what we do is we see that inequality arising from our choices and inequalities operating on account of the family or circumstances in which a person is born. This is what we are trying to eliminate. We cannot eliminate this, है ना, natural and socially produced. Why? Socially produced we can eliminate, but natural disability we cannot eliminate to the extent. Why? Because we are providing the person who is disabled with some form of additional help, so that that person can perform at par with the other individuals. But what we are trying to eliminate is that we will not be treating people differently because they come from a particular background, they come from a particular family. So this is what we are trying to eliminate, है ना, that we are not trying to eliminate natural differences, because we cannot eliminate natural differences completely. There will be some form of natural differences that will exist. So we will not assess on those parameters, rather we will assess on the parameters that if any law is to be made, if any equality of opportunities to be given, what we will do is that we will not judge that particular person on the basis that he or she comes from a family which is you can say which is not wealthy, which is from the inferior background or from the slum area and things like these. So it is of the main concern that advocates of equality in which they wish to minimize and eliminate. So I hope this is clear for you all. Now so we will see you in part 3, and by part 3 I guess we will be completing with this chapter. So thank you class, have a wonderful day. If you have any doubts, kindly do comment. It will help me and it will keep me motivated. Thank you.